Bartley Gorman from Uttoxeter, Staffordshire, is generally regarded as the greatest modern bare-knuckle boxer. The battle-scarred warrior who died of liver cancer in 2002 at the age of 57, fought at horse fairs, campsites and once even down a mine shaft. By his own analysis, he was the most dangerous unarmed man on the planet. "I will never fight a normal man," said the scrapper, "unbeaten in 25 years of brutal warfare, because I am liable to kill him with one punch." The fifth in line of Bartley Gormons, he began fighting at the age of 10 and claimed the King of the Gypsies crown in 1972, following the death of previous holder Uriah Burton. Jerry Gorman revealed his late uncle had placed a curse on thieves who stole his caravan. "Thieves are cursed," he said. "The caravan will only bring them bad luck. Surely they can't realise who they have stolen from and what this means to the traveller community. If they did, they would have realised it was the worst mistake of their lives." I don't know what the thieves are going to do with it. They can't go around boasting they've got Bartley Gorman's caravan and trying to sell it, because the police will be onto them. The only option they have is to return it. Bartley Gorman's blood and bruises story is a gripping tale, light years from the controlled, regulated violence that has made kin of his family Tyson Fury a fortune. Bartley's life is crammed with larger-than-life tales that have become embedded in gypsy folklore. In the shadowy world of illegal fighting, shifting the fact from the fiction can prove problematic. Gorman stood at 6'1" tall and weighed 15 stone, but regularly sparked out much bigger men. Amongst his victims were London stars of the underground fight scene, Lenny Mckean and Roy Pretty Boy Shaw. It's also alleged that the Gypsy King secretly sparred with Muhammad Ali when the greatest visited Birmingham in 1983. He was certainly a massive Ali fan and modelled his style on the heavyweight legend. Gorman was born in Nottingham in 1944, the son of a Welsh father and an Irish mother. Quite simply, he was born to fight. Explaining in an interview, Bartley Gorman III was the champion of North and South Wales. Bartley Gorman IV wasn't a fighter, he was a great lover. Then there was Bartley Gorman V. "That's me," he said, "champion of the world." He moved to Uttoxeter when he was 20 and lived for a while in the former pit town of Rudgley, but is best remembered for his time in Uttoxeter, where there's a plaque commemorating his achievements. His was a violent world from the off. During a 1953 Boxing Day gathering at a bar in Exhall, Stratford-on-Avon, the young Bartley witnessed his uncle's death. He was killed by a single blow from a showman, enraged after his drink was spilled. Although his grandfather and great-grandfather were great gypsy boxing champs, his dad, Samuel, was deeply religious and shunned fighting. Samuel initially brought the Gorman clan from Wales to Bedworth to be schooled. They lived in a Warner's Yard traveller's plot, and Bartley attended St Francis Assisi Primary. At the school, the youngster learned how to read and to fight. The fighting started with playground tussles, then after school scraps, followed by proper training at Bedworth Labour Club. There was also a string of schoolboy amateur fights, including some for his secondary school, Nicholas Chamberlain. But the secretive world of gloveless scraps beckoned. In his autobiography, The King of Gypsies, Bartley chronicled his toughest contests. He came within a whisker of defeat when suffering a dislocated shoulder during a 1980s challenge at a Coventry pub, believed to be the old protocol. Bartley was enjoying a pint when Mckean Webb, a giant with wiry, unkempt head of hair that looked like a busted sofa, threw down the gauntlet. The crowd cleared the tables to give the two men fighting room and warned the landlord not to ring the police. Bartley won, but only because Mckean failed to realise his opponent's shoulder had popped out. He also engaged in contests at the Aston First Travellers site Hinckley, at his brother Sam's 1991 wake, and at the Coventry Croc Fair 3 years later. Bizarrely, one of his last contests took place on a ship in the North Atlantic. In 1977, mellowed if not softened by age, Bartley announced his retirement, declaring, "I'm too intelligent to fight." He became a public mouthpiece for the gypsy community. His many projects included setting up a rehabilitation camp for travellers who wanted to be true Romanis. He also famously invited the then Prime Minister Tony Blair and the Prince of Wales to a hedgehog barbecue. But the dinner invitations were torn up after animal rights campaigners savaged the scheme. Peter Walsh, who helped Bartley compile his book during the last 18 months of his life, said, "He was a unique man, a one-off. He was a lovely man with a wicked sense of humour, but a streak of melancholy that never left him."